you set a peach on a counter, a ripe peach, and it just rots. Just withers, rots, and it's nothing. So maybe in a few years, maybe in 20 years, whatever, people aren't going to want to be attracted to me at all. There's people who are attracted to me, obviously. Otherwise I wouldn't have an OnlyFans, but in some time, my looks are going to completely and utterly fade. Why is my hair not messed up? I look like a goddamn dad. But no, looks fade in time. And I feel like everybody's just wasting away, hiding their body parts when they're adults who could not only, profit off that, significantly profit, but also, it's art. It's beautiful. I shove dildos up my butt. I suck on dildos and stuff like that. And on Onision, onlyfans.com/Onision, OnisionFans.com, stuff like that. I just show off the dong, jerk it, do all kinds of stuff.
Do you know what's withering away? Our culture. The Western Christian culture. And you don't have to be a Christian to appreciate the values that we have in this culture, the values that have literally built America and everything that is great, in the West. Everything that we value, the moral codes that we value. You don't have to believe in Jesus to appreciate those. I want to talk more about this, but Vegan Gains recently came out, selling his wife OnlyFans. I think he has one too. And it was at that point I learned what OnlyFans even was. And I realized this is a thing. This isn't, well, it's a niche, but this is something that is, I don't know, the millennials and these generations below are not ashamed of. It was, when Frank came out with his pornography, selling his butt on Chatterbait, I thought he was completely embarrassed. And I started seeing the grin, in his live streams, and I realized after seeing several and finding out that lots of people are doing this, celebrities even, they're not ashamed. They're not ashamed. It's this entire culture that has been telling them, you can't shame people for being whores. You can't shame sex workers. You don't need to feel shame. You don't need to feel ashamed. And as the lovely Palma says, we need shame. Shame is important. Shame doesn't feel good. No, it doesn't. It never feels good, but it tells us where we need to improve. It helps us.
At some point in their existence, and at varying degrees, of course, I'd rather die than go to work today, or it's rooted in something much deeper than that. And a lot of times when it is, something much deeper that's causing the thought, people feel so ashamed and feel so scared and so they're wrong and gross and bad for having these thoughts, when in reality they're just a result of some experience, and that's how your body and mind is needing to cope in the moment. I had been seeing a therapist for about 3 weeks when she recommended to my mother that she take me straight to the hospital because she didn't think that I would be safe, and she thought that I would hurt myself if I wasn't under supervision, if I was alone. And she was absolutely right. I was not in a stable state of mind. I was cutting myself a lot at that point. There was not one portion of my wrist that wasn't covered in scars or blood or cuts. It was just really intense, and I had definitely been making plans in my head of killing myself and how I would do it. And that's when it gets really serious. When you've started plotting out your death, that's when they really take it very seriously and try to get you help, because then the only next step is to pursue those plans. And this is kind of where I hit rock bottom, which one of my biggest pieces of advice is for everyone to hit rock bottom as soon as possible. life-ending thoughts as a way to cope because it made me feel momentarily safe, like I could escape from them.
On what it would mean ultimately to lead a more meaningful life.
Harmonious vibration with that which you desire.
Now, Hatami here, she wasn't talking about the same sort of shame, like sex work, that sort of thing. She was talking about a shame, not having shame for, having suicidal thoughts, which is not normal at all. This is not something that, people just get sad and feel. Which, this is the point. This new age garbage, this new leftist, feminist, radical sort of ideology that is being preached by so many people today. It's saying, don't have shame about anything. Nothing can be shameful. You shouldn't have to feel guilty, bad about anything. And that's just, if this is so, why are you so sad? Why are you so sad? What's wrong? Why is your soul so sick after years of, seeking spirituality, doing yoga in the park, and preaching this feminist garbage to everyone? Just take a look at Hitomi here. She is absolutely stunning. Most women, no matter how well they eat, no matter how much they work out, they will never look this beautiful. And that's just an honest observation. She's absolutely gorgeous. But she has a sickness, she's constantly searching for this approval, for someone to tell her these things. She's saying she looks ugly, she's blaming it on the patriarchy, and it's just, do you see what's happening here? Do you see that it doesn't matter, really? That all of this searching, all of this denying reality is not getting you any closer to the end goal, to happiness. People need purpose. They need purpose and they need discipline. We need discipline. You can't have a culture that says there are no limitations to anything. Nothing can be frowned upon. You can't be slut-shamed. You can go around, sleep with who you want. And then the men bending the knee to this sort of rhetoric. Shame on you. That's the real soy boys. Those are the real soy boys. And I'm going to give a shout out right now to that channel Fool, Fool. She talks a lot about this. Palma has mentioned that holding the men responsible. You are responsible to demand women do better. You cannot pretend that we are equal, because we are not. We are different, and that is okay. It is okay. We internalize things. You have a penis. It extends on the outside of your body. We are literally, you have to go inside of our body. So sex is going to be different, to explain this in any sort of way. And we literally have hormones that react differently during sex. So no, women cannot sleep around in this sort of way. And it doesn't mean men should. Okay? So, I'm not setting a standard or anything like this. I'm just explaining why certain things are different. Why we should, value and appreciate, and the men should protect us. They should be protecting us. They shouldn't be so flippant, like just selling their wives online. Like, shrug your shoulders. Doesn't matter to me that people see my wife's butthole and her insides of her uterus. Doesn't matter to me, because I'm just a gamer who moves my hand a little to the left when I go into the grocery store, and that makes me better. The strength, the masculinity, it's...
Need to have a chat about brownies. I can't even tell you.
It's this femininity that men are beginning to just take as their own. They've stolen it from us, is what they've done. The straight boys that are now on TikTok and, you know, what I'm seeing from my daughter's generation, the way they flip their hair and they're showing their veins are popping, just ridiculous, appearance, sort of dumb shit that you would never have thought men would be trying to utilize as a form of attraction to the opposite sex. And it's because they have nothing else to offer. Masculinity it's being stomped in the ground, basically. So they are being told that it's toxic. All of the ways that men used to appeal to women, by being strong, by being capable, by providing, by doing, working on farms, and just all of the things that they did as men to bring home the bacon, so to speak, and literally, we're being told that's some bullshit. So what else do they have to appeal to us with? Well, they can lick their lips and they can tell us that they're vegan, that they drink soy milk, that they're ethical. They would never kill a little fishy. They would never kill fish. This is why veganism is so big. People need something to cling to. They need purpose. They need to feel like they're doing something, that they're working towards something, that they're becoming a better person, that they are a good person. Now, I want to talk about pop culture, and I guess I should say I'm not such a prude that I just don't get this sort of stuff. Like, I get that there's a beat that sounds good. There's always going to be these pockets, these groups, these sort of extremes, right? And they just fit, in with, the years when you're acting out and, making bad decisions, basically, because we all have our pasts. It's acknowledging where you can improve. So this song, basically, just to be clear, if you look at the lyrics, it's saying, cooking isn't cool, cleaning, any of the skills that are traditionally women-oriented, those things are not cool. What is cool is getting huge butt implants, boob implants, obviously never being happy with your own body, the way you look, always, trying to make it into something different, and then using your ass and your vagina and your body to get money out of other men, rich men preferably, right? Rich men, because you can't just go sleeping around with hood rats and it won't work the same way. So, if you look at the larger population of women that do not have the money to get all of this stuff done to their body, they do, unless they're going to be a prostitute and quite literally make their money that way, or find a man very rich to pay for their cars while they're riding that D. You know what I mean? So, who are you empowering? Because your average woman is going to have to cook unless they can hire a maid or, a chef. They're going to have to clean. They're going to have to raise a family. So why not embrace these traditional roles? Why not embrace that we are, as women, we are creative. That's what we do. We want to give. We want to nourish. We want to create and then watch the fruition that comes of that. It's instilled deep within us. The compassion, the patience, and sure, we share a lot of these qualities with men. And of course, as we fine-tune ourselves, they become more, apparent and more actualized. But we are almost exactly the opposite of men. But it's a perfect balance when we put ourselves in a family situation. The nuclear family, it balances itself perfectly. And so I was thinking about, what was it about, the feminine movement, pop culture, all of this? What was it exactly that is destroying culture, specifically? I was watching this channel, and to set the scene up, this is what made me realize what it is, what the issue is. And to set the scene up, he's talking about an ex-girlfriend asking him before, what if he had a daughter that wanted to sell themselves in this sort of way? And he's coming from, a subjective morality state of mind you. So
X, Y, and Z freedoms that you seem to think women should have in a Western democracy. And these freedoms include sleeping around and taking photographs of yourself sleeping around. And my answer was, it depends on the girl. I said you could have two daughters for whom there are two totally different answers. Because this isn't something where there's one answer that's good for all humanity, that's good for all mankind, right?
Just from the short time I've been watching this channel, I've noticed that he really despises or, lacks respect in these people that are using themselves, using their bodies to get ahead, their attractiveness or whatever. And yet he is trying to, do these gymnastics, these mental gymnastics, to pretend as if he had two daughters, it might be okay for one of them to go out and do all of these things that he... And you know why this is? It is because him and plenty of others have decided morality is subjective. So it's good for some people, not others. And they apply this to everything. They can apply this to murder. So there's no limitations on what's right or wrong. You have to, on an individual basis, try to figure out why you feel like something is wrong. Let me show you another example of this.
Intimate with someone else doesn't make, I don't feel, yeah, cool, go do it. No, I'd rather you not do it. I would be jealous, I guess, but is that a good reaction? What if my partner could be happier? What if he could have his needs more fulfilled if he had someone else as well? That's a possibility. I don't like that. I don't like thinking about that or feeling that. That could be true. And so is it good of me to say no because that makes me feel, inferior or whatever, or like you are enjoying that other person more than me? I don't know. Maybe we should evolve, as she said. Maybe polyamory leaning people have something to teach us about jealousy. I guess.
You see, without God, without a moral right and wrong, when morality is subjective like this, you can see how things start becoming more and more progressive. Things just inch right along. The fabric is just slowly being ripped out of the culture, of the Christian, moral-based culture that we lived in, or that a lot of people still live in that culture. But you see, you start questioning things. You start questioning whether you're wrong to have feelings of jealousy. Because in someone else's reality, it may be right to have a bunch of different sexual partners. Who's to say these 11-year-olds can't go around twerking it? That may be right for them. Who's to say your daughter can't go around sleeping with different guys and posting nudes on the internet? That may work out perfectly for her in her reality. Which it's are these people looking around at the effects on society? Are they here in this? What are they witnessing? Does it look like any of these people that are doing these things, that are saying they are equal, that are saying they should be sleeping around and doing it more than men, just owning their sexuality. They're empowered. Do they seem happy to you? This Bella Thorne, that's one of the celebrities I heard about being on OnlyFans. And when I first saw this girl, she was like a kid in that Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore movie where they go on vacation. I can't remember the name of it. But she was dressed like a boy, like the large majority of the movie, and then she broke out and learned how to dress like a girl, and she was like gorgeous, and everybody thought she was beautiful. And I was sitting there thinking the entire time, that's a little boy, right? No, really. I thought she was a trans. I thought she had turned into a girl, but everything the bone structure, everything looked like a boy to me. So, I'm not sure whether that's important. I'm just saying, this is what's happening to our culture. This is what the celebrities that are rearing our children, our society, they are putting out to us that morality is subjective. So these things, they swing on a pendulum. This little girl doesn't know what sexuality she is. Bella Thorne, I'm sorry, she's grown now. But she thought she was bi. Then she thought she was pansexual. She says she was molested almost nightly all the way until she was 14 years old. So this is a depraved reality that's being put on people. If this is right for somebody, show me. Show me that person it's right for. Show me how it worked for them. Because as far as I can see, Alfred Kinsey's work and all of the above, it looks like this pedophilic, that's the progression they're trying to finally reach. Am I wrong in thinking that? And if you don't know who Alfred Kinsey is, he was a researcher who wanted to show that even children, respond sexually, and that it's a natural thing. He was molesting children in his research, but he wanted to show that this is natural, that children respond sexually, and we shouldn't be ashamed of this. We shouldn't be ashamed. And this is when the sexual revolution, in the 60s and so on, really spiked, and just everyone went crazy and was like, oh, all love, peace, and having sex and spreading AIDS. And it was like, nobody can be ashamed anymore because we're all sexual beings. And that was Richard Gaines. That was his point. We all do this, and a lot of people watch porn. So why not just spread your butt cheeks on camera? Why not everyone do that? Well, we all, go to the bathroom. Well, why not put that on camera as well? These people, they have no respect for themselves, for other people, and they will laugh. They will laugh if you say you believe in God or Jesus, if you believe in something other than yourself. Yet they don't even believe in themselves. They don't have the intuitive know-how it just never was there. And then diet, that just brings it to a whole new level. It's like people are being reared this way into this robotic sort of trance. And I'm not saying that you need to live in shame if you've ever done anything, that you're not too proud of. It just means you don't need to be proud of it. That's all. If you want to do better, you need to understand that, God has a moral right and wrong for us. And that's what fosters strong, stable individuals, families, the nuclear family. And this is running too long. I've been ranting, but I wanted to let you hear some of what Tristan had to say. He has a beautiful perspective on this sort of thing. So, and Anika in this debate, she made one good point. She said it's the family structure. We have to have that in society. And pornography and all of this depravity, it goes exactly against that. And Tristan said, why though? Why? These people don't even understand why they believe, like the ones that do acknowledge this is wrong, they don't even know why. So go check out Tristan's channel. He, like I said, great channel, great content. Never a dull moment over there. I think what's worse than people believing this and repeating this rhetoric is like people like the Unnatural Vegan. I don't think they even believe it fully. I think they are just saying what the little ear holes want to hear, their audience, their little, you know what I'm saying? I think they are just wanting to appease everyone. We've got a far more progressive society than we used to have. And so to include everyone, to be inclusive, you have to act like you would live that life too. Like there's no shame in any of this. Like you're completely okay with all of this because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So people are more focused on pandering, and virtue signaling than, like Tristan said, than knowing what real virtue even is. And these people want to connect, they can't connect with humans. This is why they reach to the animals who they will never actually have real relationships with, They'll never be able to grow from these relationships emotionally. And so people now, our generation now, it's largely robotic in nature, The fact, answer the question. You know what I'm talking about. And when you hear people say they can't think for themselves, I don't think people really get what that means, because they can think, they can read, they can think, they can even think for themselves sometimes. But there's an intuitive aspect to this. And the whole scientism community will laugh when I talk about this sort of thing. But any mother knows what I mean. When you go to the doctor and their needles are being pulled out, it's like sometimes you get these feelings and it pushes you to ask more questions. You don't just go along and do with what everyone says you should do, right? Sometimes you're guided by your gut, right? Your gut feeling. So now the generation below us, this COVID stuff has brought on a new normal, which if it stays in place, if people just keep allowing things to remain this way, we'll breed an even more robotic generation of children. Children, they look at your face and they are, quantifying emotions and all these sorts of things. They need to be touched. They need loads of attention and love to grow and flourish. So these preschoolers are now being surrounded by adults who they can't see their faces. And I don't know if it's going to be like this in daycares as well, but think about this. Children are going to be reared for at least some amount of time by adults like this. And now in preschool and Head Start, they're saying they can't even touch these kids. They cannot touch them. Think about this. You're surrounded as a child by adults who you cannot see their faces. They will not touch you. You fall and scrape your knee. They will not touch you. So if you think Richard Burgess or Richard Gaines is indoctrinated or just, underdeveloped emotionally or whatever, let me tell you what's coming. We are indoctrinating a whole new generation that's going to be about 10 times worse than what we're witnessing now. So I guess I'd say, protect your families. Find God. If you can't find God, find a moral basis, a system that works. Subjective morality, believing in ourselves, being one with all, obviously is not working. Look around.